Remember, a linear system is two or more linear equations. The solution is where the lines cross, if at all. Here are the three possibilities for your answers. Maybe you have two lines that cross one time. That's called consistent and independent. Maybe you have two lines that cross all the time because they're right on top of each other. That's called consistent and dependent. Or maybe you have two lines that are parallel, which means that they will never cross ever, in which case they have no solution. Today we're going to learn how to solve systems by substitution. So what we're going to do is we're going to match up one letter from one of the equations and plug it in to that letter in the other equation. So I'm going to take this equation that is solved for y and plug it into the y in the second equation. But I'm not just going to write y for y. Instead, I'm going to write all of this right there. So we're going to start off by recopying the beginning of the equation, the second equation. So there's the x, and there's the plus sign. And now I will rewrite the x minus 1, because that's right there. And I'll say it equals 7. So instead of writing that y, we're writing x minus 1. Now we're just going to solve it for x. It looks like we can combine these two x's. So we'll have two x's. Minus 1 equals 7. Next we will add 1 to both sides. So plus 1 and plus 1, and we get 2x equals 8. Divide both sides by 2, and we get x equals 4. So we know the x number for our solution. Now we just have to find y. So we can take this x, which is 4, and plug it in for either that x or that x to solve for y. Personally, I think it'd be easier to plug it into the one that's already solved for y, so we'll plug it in for that x. So I'm going to write y equals, and now for the x, I'm going to plug in 4, and then I'll write minus 1. So it looks like y is going to equal 3. So now I have the second coordinate of my ordered pair, and we're done. Go ahead and try the next example. You should get 3, 5 for your answer. For the next example, we want to do the same thing. We want to take one of the letters and plug it into the other equation for the same letter. So we have a 2x, a y, a 3x, and a 4y. I'm going to say, let's solve the top equation for y, because it's the only one that's almost all by itself, and we'll plug it into the bottom equation for that y. So let's solve the top equation for y equals. Right now it's 2x plus y equals 4. So what we need to do is move the 2x to the other side. It's very important you do the first step correctly, because otherwise the rest of your problem will be messed up. So it's going to be 4 minus 2x. So that is what we are going to take and plug into the second equation for y, just like we said our original plan was. So when we plug it in, we're not going to replace y with y, because that would be silly. We're going to replace the y with 4 minus 2x. And notice I put it in parentheses, and you'll see why in a second. So we're going to recopy the equation that was there. There's the 3x, the minus sign, and that 4. And now here comes the parentheses, 4 minus 2x, parentheses, equals 6. Now we will make sure to distribute this negative 4 to everything inside the parentheses. So I'll recopy the 3x out front so we don't forget about it. Negative 4 times 4 is negative 16. Negative 4 times negative 2x is positive 8x. and all of this equals 6. Next, we will combine like terms. 3x plus 8x is 11x. We will minus 16. But now to get rid of the 16, we need to add it to both sides. So 11x equals 22. The last step to solve for x is to divide both sides by 11. And when we do that, we get x equals 2. So now we know the first part of our ordered pair is 2. Now we just need to solve for y. So we can take this x and we can plug it into any of the x's up above here. We can plug it into this one, or this one. Any one of those is acceptable. And since we're solving for y, I'm going to go ahead and choose to plug it into this one because this equation is already solved for y, and that'll be the least amount of work. So we have y equals 4 minus 2 times 2. So we'll solve that. It's going to be 4 minus 4, which is 0. So it means that these two equations cross at 2, 0. The answer to the next problem is -1, -7, so make sure you do all the work and come up with that answer. Please remember to do these two questions. There's not really a right or a wrong answer, but you do need to complete them in order to get your 20 points for tomorrow.